Hi, everyone. We're going to wait a few more minutes just to give other people a chance to jump on, and then we will get started. I'm so glad that you're here. Hello, I saw someone just join us. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes to jump on the call, and then we'll get started in just a little bit. Let's see. I opened up the chat on the side, if you see it to the right of your screen. So if you have questions as we're going through the course, you can type them in there, and I will do my best to answer them. And if not, then you'll be able to do that at the end, and I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has at that point. So I see a couple of other people have jumped on. So we'll give everybody about 2, maybe 3 more minutes, and then we will officially kick things off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get things started. We may have some other people jump on a little bit later, but first of all, let me introduce myself. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Brandy Trammell. I am currently leading the 10-day clean eating challenge that is completely free, and I hope that you guys had a wonderful first day and that you're enjoying the recipes and the meal plans, and that you're excited about things to come. Congratulations for being on here tonight. Just the fact that you decided to join me shows me even more that you are committed to changing your health and learning how to nourish your body, which is huge because so many people don't know what the right meal plan or the right diet is. We have so much conflicting information out there. And so I'm excited that you've tuned in tonight to hear what I have to say, and I hope that it will bless you. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am 32. I have been married to my wonderful husband for 10 and a half years, and we have 3 little boys. They are 8, 4, and 1. We currently live in Georgia and are from Texas, so I'll always claim Texas as home. I have been in the health and fitness industry for about 8 years now. It's been a journey, and I have learned a lot along the way. But I have about 7 years of experience teaching group fitness, mostly at LA Fitness. I taught almost every format that there was. And I also am about to finish up my degree in holistic nutrition. This is something that is extremely important to me and something that I'm passionate about sharing with others. When I was 2 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. If you don't know what that means, it's basically, it used to be juvenile onset. Now we're seeing more and more adults develop it, which is largely in part because of our diets and our sedentary lifestyles. But so I've dealt with that since I was 2 years old, 30 years. Statistically, I should have some form of retinopathy, neuropathy, the complications that come with diabetes. I should have had complicated pregnancies that were very difficult, but I didn't. And I don't have any of those complications. And here's why. I have learned how to get back to basics, how to feed my body what's real food, what God created to be food, and not what anybody can formulate in a laboratory or make in a factory. And I've learned how to exercise and care for my body in that way. Is it easy? No, it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. I'm so thankful to have the health that I do, and then also to have the opportunity to share some tips with you on how you can do the same. I want you to know, and you may have heard me say this before, that you have a choice. You don't have to be defined by your diagnosis, whatever it is, whatever you've been told by your doctors. You can overcome. If not completely heal it, you can definitely improve your life and the way that you're able to deal with it by making nutrition changes and changing the way that you use your body by being active and being fit. So I hope that this information will be a blessing to you. Again, if you have any questions while we're going through things, feel free to type them in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer them. So the first thing I want you to understand about this is the main goal is health. It's not weight loss. Now, weight loss is a great bonus, and it is part of getting healthy when you've struggled with your weight. But I think we put far too much emphasis on losing weight and far too little on getting healthy. That's why we have so many diet foods and diet drinks and sugar-free and fat-free cookies and cakes and popsicles and things that are really just junk food. And we've been told that they're okay for us because they're diet foods. So I want you to just wrap your mind around that for just a second, that the true goal is to improve your health. The goal in and of itself is not weight loss, but it does generally come along with it. So keep that in mind as we talk today. Now, the first thing, I told you today that I was going to share with you the top 10 things that you can do to improve your health starting today. And some of them, I think, may be a little bit surprising to you. If you have tried dieting before, if you've tried losing weight before, you have likely consumed sugar-free and low sugar, no sugar added products. We've been told that that's an effective way to monitor our calorie intake, keep our weight down, and lose weight. But that's actually incredibly false. The first thing that you can do to drastically improve your health starting today is to stop consuming sugar-free and no sugar added products. Diet sodas, sugar-free pudding, sugar-free yogurt, light yogurt, Kool-Aids and Crystal Light. I mean, there's so many things out there that have this stuff in it, but and this is coming from someone who's been diabetic most of my life, and those are usually the highest consumers of these artificially sweetened products. But let me tell you the reason it is so detrimental to your health. Most of those products are full of chemical artificial sweeteners. The two most widely known are aspartame and Splenda or sucralose. Aspartame is a neurotoxin, and what that means is that basically when your body metabolizes it, it causes your nerves to fire over and over and over and over again until they wear themselves out. It has been linked to all kinds of neurological issues, from headaches and migraines to brain tumors to vertigo to symptoms of fibromyalgia and MS. I mean, the list is crazy long, all the things that aspartame can cause. We've been sold a lie that these things are here to help us be healthier, and nothing could be further from the truth. The second one that is used a lot is Splenda, or sucralose, as it's often stated on the labels. Splenda used to be thought to be safer. And their whole slogan was, it tastes like sugar because it's made like sugar. So it comes from something natural. So it's not bad for you, right? Well, recently, Splenda was downgraded from safe to the category of caution by the Center for Science and the Public Interest. So what that means basically is that there wasn't enough research done, or research that was done was hidden from the general public, and it's now been uncovered. So Splenda and sucralose has been linked to cancers of several different kinds, among other things. It, just like aspartame, is a chemical sweetener. It may start off as sugar, but anytime you change the molecular makeup of anything, you don't have the same thing. So the way that Splenda is made is they inject a chlorine molecule into the sugar, and that makes it to where your body can't metabolize it, and it can't break it down to where it raises your blood sugar, and so essentially makes it calorie-free. Again, chemical sweeteners that have no place in the human diet. So I want you to commit to yourself that you are no longer going to consume those things if you do. If you want something that is non-nutritive and sugar-free, stevia is an okay option. It comes from a plant, the stevia plant, and as long as it's manufactured correctly, there's nothing artificial about it, and it is completely safe. So that's the only sugar-free sweetener that I condone. I actually don't use stevia a lot even. I use it occasionally, and it is in my favorite shake, Shakeology. But if I need to sweeten something, I generally use just a little bit of local raw honey for the most part. Sometimes when I'm baking, I'll use organic raw sugar, but for the most part, I just use a little amount of local raw honey and occasionally grade B maple syrup. Those are real foods, and they have some nutritional benefits along with giving you a little bit of added sweetness. So that is number 1 on my list of the top 10 things you can do to improve your health. Number 2 is to stop eating low-fat and fat-free foods. Again, this may be surprising to you because once again, we've been fed this lie that if we want to lose weight, we have to cut the fat out of our diets. Now, trans fats, fried foods, things like that are not health foods, obviously. But when you take the fat out of a food, you have to replace it with something else, or else it basically tastes like cardboard. So what most food manufacturers do, if they remove the fat, they pump it with more sugar. So you are consuming something that may not have any fat, but it is going to cause a rapid rise in your blood sugar, and that is what really causes you to pack on weight. So you're really just kind of sabotaging your own efforts. Our bodies were designed to need a pretty significant amount of fats that come from whole food sources. Coconut oil, real grass-fed organic butter. We do beef, we do grass-fed beef. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Fats that are good for you. Whole milk organic yogurt. I don't buy low-fat or fat-free items because I don't believe they're healthy, and I don't believe that they help you lose weight. Now, if that sounds really crazy to you, I understand. But do a little research. If you'd like some articles, I'd be glad to post them for you or send them to you in a message. But this was one of the most liberating things for me, I think, as I started to do my nutrition research, because for so long, when I was growing up and struggling with my weight, because I was close to 200 pounds as a teenager. And every time I would try to lose weight, that's what I did. I cut all the fat out of my diet. Now, that meant, I could go drink Dr. Pepper because there's no fat. It's just sugar. That's an extreme example, but we've got the Snackwell's cookies that are low fat and all the Special K bars and cereals and cookies and whatnot, but those are not health food. If you look at the ingredient list, it's going to be about that long on a tiny little box because they have to put so many artificial things in it just to make it taste good. So take it from me, low fat and fat free is not the way to go. It's not the way to improve your health, and it's not the way to lose weight. Number 3, you need to reduce or eliminate processed foods. Now, this is probably a no-brainer. I know we've all heard it before. And I do also know that it's not easy. Processed foods are convenient. They have a long shelf life. They're usually prepackaged, so they're easy to grab and go. But I promise you, if you start staying away from them as much as possible, you will see big changes in your health and in your weight loss. And here's why. Just like we talked about with the low-fat stuff and the fat-free stuff, anything that's packaged is usually going to be full of preservatives, artificial ingredients, and a lot of times sugar, because that's what allows it to last on the shelf. That's what keeps it from spoiling like fresh food would. So while I understand the need for convenience, there are some great organic options that you can use when you're in a pinch. You know, things like granola bars or even some cereals, things like that. And I can share some ideas with you about snack foods and grab and go kind of things if that's something that you really struggle with. But I encourage you to drastically reduce or completely eliminate processed foods. Now, this is going to be a process. It's not easy, and it takes work and it takes planning, but I promise you every minute that you put in of effort will pay you back in so many ways and so much greater than the amount of time that you invest in it. Number 4 is start using coconut oil if you don't already. Now, this goes hand in hand with what we just talked about with fat. Coconut oil, and it needs to be virgin or extra virgin, because if it's not, then it's been processed and refined, and that means it's lost some of the nutritional benefit. But virgin or extra virgin coconut oil is one of the healthiest fats and really healthiest foods on the planet. It is full of what we call medium chain fatty acids. Different types of fat are made from different kinds of fatty acid chains. Medium chain fatty acids are different than long chain or short chain. Now, the difference between medium chain and things like your saturated fat and your animal fat and things like that, and even your polyunsaturated fats and things like that in the vegetable seeds and all that, is that it does not require insulin to get into the cell. So when you eat coconut oil, it's absorbed almost more like a carbohydrate, and it can give you an instant almost increase in energy because your body burns it for fuel. And the cool thing about that is, as a diabetic, I know that there were a lot of times growing up, if I ate a high-fat meal, like let's say pizza, right? Well, we know that that's high in carbohydrates, but it's also high in fat, not the good kind of fat. So a lot of times I would give myself enough insulin through my insulin pump for the pizza carbohydrates. But then 3 or 4 hours later, because fat breaks down slower than carbohydrates or protein, my blood sugar would shoot up. And there was really no way for me to plan how to manage that. Well, the reason is because most fat has to go into the liver, be converted, and then be released into the bloodstream, where insulin has to unlock the cell to be able to allow it inside the cell. So it's a long process, and it takes a while for it to break down. Coconut oil, on the other hand, doesn't require that process. So it is the absolute best fat for diabetics. And here's an even greater point. It is known as the low-calorie fat. And the reason for that is because, like I just said, it's burned very quickly, and it also has components that help speed up your metabolism. It's actually used as a weight loss supplement in a lot of places, where you take a tablespoon before each meal. Now, that helps you feel satisfied, but it also ramps up your metabolism. The third thing that's really awesome about coconut oil is that it has natural antibacterial, antiviral, and antiparasitic properties. So not only is it going to help speed up your metabolism, and it also nourishes your brain and just provides you with some really great fuel for your body, but it also helps fight disease. It helps fight viruses and bacteria that would get in your body and try to make you sick. So when my family and I start having symptoms of sickness, we up our coconut oil intake. I put it in coffee and hot tea. I spread it on toast or waffles or whatever, and try to get even more than normal into our diet. So it is just really a superfood that I highly, highly recommend. We do most of our cooking and baking with it because it's stable at high heat, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful addition to your diet. So I encourage you to start using that today if you aren't already. The number 5 thing in my top 10 things that you can do to improve your health is to start buying organic. Now, I know that this is a touchy subject for some people, and sometimes it's hard for us to do that. Organic food does generally cost more. I get that. I know it's hard to fit it into your budget. It's hard to work that way with if you're on a very strict grocery budget. But if there's anything that you can move around, if it's possible at all, I highly recommend trying to buy organic as much as possible, especially when it comes to the Dirty Dozen, which I will post a link to that in our challenge group so that you'll know which fruits and vegetables fall into that category. The Dirty Dozen are the 12 most sprayed fruits and vegetables currently on the market. So they're the ones that you really want to try to avoid buying conventional because they likely have a lot of chemical residues from the pesticides that have been used on them. Now, I know that there's some controversy about whether organic food is worth the cost or not, but I will tell you there are so many chemicals that are sprayed onto our food. It's almost unbelievable. And a lot of them disrupt our endocrine system. They affect our hormones. They cause cancer. They have so many awful side effects, and yet we continue to spray them on our foods. Now, the foods that absorb them most readily and are sprayed the most heavily are extremely dangerous for us, for our children, and if it's at all possible, it's definitely worth it to try to start converting your groceries to some organic. Now, it can be a process. We didn't start out buying everything organic overnight. I picked the things that were the most important, like the Dirty Dozen, animal proteins, things like that, that we're going to talk about in a minute. And I just did what I could at the moment and then worked up from there. So know that it's going to be a process. It's going to be a gradual transition, and that's okay. But the important thing is that you start making changes today, because that is going to affect your health and the health of your family for years and years to come. Number 6 of my top 10 things you can do to improve your health is eat high quality protein. I touched on that just a second ago, just a little bit. And what I mean by high quality is either organic or, even better yet, pastured and grass-fed. There's a difference between organic and pastured or grass-fed. Organic is definitely better than conventional because that means they haven't been given food that has pesticides in it. But the organic chickens and cows don't necessarily have to have access to sunlight or room to roam around. They don't have to have access to grass as far as cows go. It's basically just a regulation that deals with their food. Now, pastured or grass-fed, on the other hand, means animals that were basically raised the way that God intended them to be raised and eating the foods that God intended them to eat. Cows were designed to eat grass, not corn and grains. And that's a lot of the reason why our conventional beef is so unhealthy and why there's so many bacteria recalls found, because when they are feeding on things that they weren't designed to eat, it causes bacteria growth in their stomachs, and that can sometimes be passed into their meat. Cows were designed to eat grass. Chickens were designed to roam around and eat bugs and worms and things that make their eggs and their meat have the really good quality fats that we want in it. So if at all possible, find sources for grass-fed and pastured meat and poultry. You can go to a website called eatwild.com or localharvest.com and look up places in your area that sell it. And we're very fortunate nowadays. We have a lot of options like that, even at our regular grocery stores. Our Kroger carries grass-fed beef and organic free-range chicken and a lot of things like that. So there are options, and the options seem to be increasing all the time. So I encourage you to try to find a good source for pastured and grass-fed animal protein products. That includes your milk as well. We actually do raw milk, and that's another broadcast topic because it can be a bit controversial, but I found it to be the absolute most nourishing thing that as far as milk goes. But we use almond milk also, so that's another option. Okay, moving on. Number 7 is to limit carbs and sugars in your diet. Now, I know that this can be a little bit iffy for some people too. There was a big craze with the Atkins diet and the South Beach diet a while back, and I think some of their points were valid, but I don't necessarily think that they had it all right. However, I do believe that as a country, we consume far too many carbohydrates and far too much sugar. If you have the choice, grab a piece of fruit or a vegetable rather than even an organic snack, crackers or granola bars. They're so easy, and it's so easy to just grab that and go. But when we limit our carbs and our sugars, it does several things for our bodies. One, it eliminates or reduces the blood sugar spike that happens and the insulin secretion that happens as a result of eating high carbohydrate foods. Now, what happens when we have a lot of insulin secreted is that our bodies begin to become resistant to it. That's what begins to cause type 2 diabetes. When our bodies are resistant to the insulin that is being secreted, it's because there's far too much insulin being released. Our bodies can no longer process it, and that becomes an issue, and you go into metabolic syndrome and your blood sugar rises, and it's hard to get it back under control. It's possible, though, especially for type 2 diabetes, it's possible to completely reverse it in a lot of cases, and definitely to control it well with diet and with exercise. The other thing is that sugar is one of the most inflammatory substances on the planet. And we have so many chronic diseases that are rooted in inflammation, from Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis to fibromyalgia and MS. And there's so many things that are basically related to chronic inflammation. Now, I'm not saying cutting the sugar out of your diet will absolutely cure you of those diseases, but it can go a long, long way in making you feel a whole lot better. So even though we know that sugar is bad for us, it's also addicting. And so if you decide that you're going to remove the sugar from your diet, you're likely to feel some detox symptoms. And that's okay. It's a good thing. You just have to take it one day at a time and know that it will be worth it. All right, number 8 is drink pure water, and lots of it. You've probably heard the recommendation you should get half of your body weight in ounces of water every single day, and that is true. Now, what I want to talk to you a little bit about is the benefits of purified water. Now, there are a host of purification methods. I think the best kind of readily seen purification method is the reverse osmosis, and you can find some bottled waters that are made with that. You can get filters that go on your counter or on your sink faucet, but try to drink pure water if at all possible, but make sure you are aiming to get that half your body weight in ounces of water. And one of my biggest tips to my challengers is start your day with at least 8, preferably closer to 12 or 16 ounces of pure water every day before you have your coffee, before you have your breakfast, or anything else. And the reason for that is it helps wake up your metabolism and begin flushing toxins out of your body to keep you healthy. Super effective for weight loss and just overall health. So start your day with purified water and make sure you're aiming for half your body weight in ounces of water. That alone will hugely impact your ability to lose weight and will just make you feel overall better. Number 9, and you may be expecting this one. I don't want to be cliche, and I am not trying to be salesy, but number 9 is to drink Shakeology daily. I've posted a little bit about Shakeology in my 10-day clean eating challenge, and most of you probably know that I'm a big fan, and here's why. Shakeology, in my opinion, is so different from every other product that is out there. I had been approached by just about every weight loss company that has shakes or pills or wraps or anything like that. And I kept finding that most of them had some questionable ingredients that I wasn't a fan of. This was not one of my 10 things, but I'm not a fan of soy at all. It disrupts your endocrine system, your hormones, and can cause thyroid issues. But a lot of them also had artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors. They just didn't have real food, and I was committed to a real food lifestyle. So when I was first introduced to Shakeology, I was very skeptical. I figured I would look up the ingredient list and find pretty much the same things that I had seen on the labels of every other product that I had examined. But when I actually looked it up, I was incredibly surprised. It is full of an entire day's worth of fruits and vegetables that are sustainably grown and sourced from small farms around the world. So not only is it super good quality ingredients, they are also supporting local agriculture and small farming, which is a big thing that's important to me as well. So it's got an entire day's worth of fruits and vegetables, tons of superfoods, antioxidants, digestive enzymes, probiotics, adaptogens, protein. I mean, it is literally the most complete meal you could ever imagine. But my story with Shakeology started a couple years ago, a little over 2 years ago. My husband was preparing to do a fast with a ministry that he was a part of for 21 days. And I wanted him to have something that would give him a little more nourishment and sustenance than whatever he was going to pick up to drink at the gas station. And so I had a friend who was a Beachbody coach, and I contacted her, and she set us up with some Shakeology. So he would go all day at work without eating, and then he would come home and drink Shakeology in the evening, just one serving. And he would then have so much energy, he would go and jog around the block and come home and do push-ups. And this is after not eating all day. And he didn't normally do that when he was eating. So when I started to see that, I thought, okay, maybe there's something to this. I want some of that. You know, I'm a busy mom. I teach fitness classes. I need some energy like that. So I started, drinking it too. And we just found it to have incredible results. It helped stabilize my blood sugars big time. I noticed a big difference in the stability of my blood sugars after I started on it. It increases energy naturally. There are no stimulants or caffeine in it at all. And it significantly reduces cravings, especially cravings for sweets. And that's a big deal when you're trying to wean yourself off sugar or, lose weight. I mean, getting those cravings out of the way because it tastes amazing. The chocolate's my favorite. So I feel like I'm getting a chocolate shake and it feels almost like a cheat meal, but it's not. It's like an entire day's worth of vegetables in a delicious shake. So I share that with you just to let you know where I'm coming from, that this is not about sales to me. This is about recommending things that have worked for me and that I'm passionate about because they will improve your health and improve your life. So that's number 9. I recommend Shakeology. If you'd like to try a sampler, give me a call or send me a message or a text. And I'll be happy to let you try some and decide if it's the right fit for you. Now, we are all the way at number 10, and this last one is very, very important. Number 10 in the top 10 things that you can do to improve your health is to take baby steps and to show grace for yourself. When we try to make changes, we tend to want to go all out and give it everything we've got and do everything all at once. And while those goals are nice and they're honorable, they often set us up for failure. So I want you to know that it's okay to go slow. It's okay to take baby steps. And really, it's the smartest way to go about changing your health. I don't expect you to start doing all 10 of these things tomorrow or even next week. But I want you to take what you've learned tonight, choose what is the most important for you, and implement it first. And then work your way from there. You're not going to be able to change everything about your health and your diet and your life overnight. It's a process. It has to be. That's the only way it works. There's no magic pill. There's no super potion. It takes hard work, learning about what you need to nourish your body, and dedication and commitment. So show yourself grace. If you slip up, it's okay. We all do. We all have treat meals. And it's okay. The problem comes when at the end of that treat meal, you feel so guilty that you can't even enjoy it. And then you decide, well, I've already blown it, so I'm just going to, go binge on everything else, and I'll start again on Monday. How many times have you said that? That's not the answer. Don't wait till Monday. Don't even wait till the next day. Start fresh the very next snack or meal. And I promise if you do that, you will start to feel a lot less guilty. You'll still see results, even if you have a cheat meal or a treat meal. just go easy on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself, because this is a process and you've already made a huge step in the right direction just by deciding to be here tonight, to join whatever challenge you're a part of, and to decide that it's time to work on you. So take baby steps and be good to yourself. That's all I have for you tonight. I hope that you have learned some things that can help you in your journey to better health. And I want you to know that I am here to answer questions. If you have any, please let me know. And I look forward to working with you going forward and seeing some amazing results in health and weight loss from all of you. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon.